All right, we're going to go ahead and get started today by actually lying down on our mats. Lie all the way down. Let the hands rest wherever's comfortable, whether that's down on the mat, on the belly, maybe holding the hands at the top. Start to close the eyes. Start to focus on the breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Feeling the inhale, moving in and down through the throat. Feeling all those spaces in the lungs. Feeling it move down to the toes. And then feeling it leave the body with each exhale. Starting to let those days go. Clearing the mind. Bringing ourselves into our rooms and onto our mat. Taking these next few minutes to just focus on that breath. See how it makes you feel. Taking a few more breaths here. And then on that next inhale, we're going to lift that right leg up, placing the foot on the mat. And bring that knee into the chest. Take a hold of the leg behind the knee. And then just start to do some circles with that leg. And then open the eyes. You can keep the eye or open them or keep them closed. It's up to you. Just opening up that hip right now, drawing those circles. And then change that direction of those circles. And then bring that knee back in that chest. Give it just a little tug. And then lay that leg back down. Give it a little bit of a wiggle. And then take that left foot, place it on the mat, and then bring that knee into the chest, taking hold of the leg, and then doing those circles on that left leg. Taking your time here, going as fast or as slow as is comfortable on that hip. And as big or as small circles as is comfortable as well. And then change that direction. And we're just waking up the body right now. And then coming back to that center, giving that knee a little pull into the chest. And then letting it just come down onto the mat. And give that leg a little wiggle. And we'll take the arms and place them wherever is going to be comfortable for you. We're going to bring that right leg up, trying to keep it as straight as we can, but if there's a bend in the knee, that's okay. We're just going to add some movement with the breath here. So as we exhale, dropping that leg back down. Inhale, bring that leg up. And exhale, drop that leg down. And inhale, bring it up. Exhale, dropping down. Inhaling up. Exhaling it down. Doing that one more time. Inhaling that leg up. And exhale it down. If you need to give that leg a little shake here. And then we'll move over to that left leg. Inhaling, lifting it up. Again, if we have a bend in the knee, that's okay. Trying to keep that leg straight. And exhale, drop it down. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, down. And inhale up. Exhale, down. Inhale up. Exhale, down. We'll do that one more time. Inhale that leg up. And exhale it down. Give that leg a little shake. And we'll make our way up onto our hands and our knees. Taking our time as we get here. We'll take those wrists, make sure they're right under those shoulders. Take those knees right under those hips. Feet tops are flat on the floor behind us. And we'll inhale, drop the belly down, bring that gaze up. Exhale, roll that spine, tuck that chin to the chest. Inhale, drop that belly down, gaze up. Exhale, roll that spine, tuck that chin. Inhale, dropping down, gaze up. Exhale, roll that spine. Doing it a couple more times. Inhale, drop that belly down, gaze up. And exhale, roll the spine. Inhale, dropping that belly down, gaze up. And exhale, roll the spine. And on this inhale, coming to a neutral spine. And then just kind of swivel back and forth here. Trying to touch that shoulder to that hip. And then come back center. And we're going to tuck those toes behind us. Lift those hips up to the sky. Into a down dog. Feel free to pedal those feet out. Maybe holding one side down. And then switching to that other side. Letting those legs loosen up and wake up. And then let those legs come into stillness. Take a breath here. And on that next inhale, walk those feet up to those hands. Holding ourselves over the legs with a bend in those knees. Then place those hands up on that thigh and roll ourselves all the way up. Stacking each vertebrae. And then roll the shoulders down the back. Let the hands come to the sides. Take a breath here. And on that next inhale, bring those hands up. Keys going up towards the thumbs. Exhale, swan diving ourselves over those legs. Inhale, come to a half lift, sliding those hands right under those knees. Exhaling down. Inhale, place the hands on the mat, step back to a high plank or drop onto the knees. Exhale, come all the way onto that mat. Inhale, lifting that chest up. Exhale down. Inhale, push back to that down dog. Take a breath here. And on that next inhale, walk those feet up to those hands. Folding ourselves over the legs. And inhale all the way up. Bring those arms. Exhaling them down. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, swan diving forward over the legs. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step back to that high plank or onto those knees. Exhaling all the way down. Inhale, just lifting that chest. Exhale down. Inhale, push back to that down dog. Taking our breath here. And on that next inhale, walk the feet up to the hands. Folding over the legs. And inhaling all the way up. Exhaling those arms down. Doing that one more time. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, swan right forward over the legs. Inhale, halfway. Exhale down. Inhale, step back to that high plank or onto those knees. Exhaling all the way down. Inhale, just lifting that chest. Exhale down. Inhale, push back to that down dog. Taking a couple breaths here in this down dog. Using this opportunity to catch the breath if we lost it. Or just to refocus on it. And if you need to pedal those feet out, anytime we're in this down dog, please feel free. We'll take just a couple more breaths. And on our next inhale, we're going to start to shift the upper body forward, coming into that high plank. So if you need to adjust those feet back, make sure everything's lined up under those shoulders. We're keeping that belly tucked into the spine, trying not to arch those hips down or up, trying to keep that straight line from the crown of the head down to those feet. We're going to move through a couple little series here with this plank. So anytime if you need to drop to those knees, feel free. But we'll start to lift that right leg. We can keep that toes pointed down to the floor, or if it's more comfortable, point them out. We'll hold it for a breath. Dropping that leg down. And then we're going to roll those feet, lifting that right arm up to the sky. We can drop down onto that left knee. Gaze up at the sky or at the side, whatever's comfortable on the neck. And then rolling ourselves back down, adjusting into that plank, dropping onto those knees, tuck big toes together, sink those hips back, forehead coming down to the mat. If those arms need a little break, you can bring them alongside the legs and let them just relax. Taking this child's pose here to catch our breath. Refocusing on it again. 2 more deep breaths here. And if we have the arms alongside the legs, we'll take them, start to walk them out, and then come up onto those hands and those knees. And we're going to go back into that plank onto the, moving on to our other side. So we'll step the legs back, coming into that high plank. Trying to keep those wrists right under those shoulders. Again, that straight line from the crown of the head down to the feet, tucking that belly into the spine. And then we'll lift that left leg. Again, those toes can be pointed down to the floor or out to the side, whatever's comfortable. Drop that leg back down. And then rolling onto that right side, bringing that left arm up. Again, we can drop that knee down. And then rolling back down. Holding this plank for a breath here. And then dropping onto those knees. Again, tucking those toes, dropping those hips back, coming to the mat. And then if you want to give those arms a break, bring them alongside those legs. Take those breaths here. Again, using this opportunity, try to catch that breath if we've lost it. And then we'll take those arms, start to walk them out if they've been tucked by the legs. Coming up onto those hands and those knees. And roll those wrists out, feel free. And then we're going to tuck those toes behind us and lift those hips up, coming into a down dog. We'll take a couple breaths here. Our down dog is another resting pose where we're just holding ourselves up, but everything else is just resting. We'll counter equally weighted between those hands and the feet. So take those deep breaths here. On our next inhale, we're going to lift that right leg up with a bend in the knee. As we exhale, start to shift that knee forward up to the chest, dropping that foot between those thumbs. Rotate that back foot so it's parallel with the mat. Place those hands on that thigh. Give ourselves that little assist up. Hands on the hips. Make sure those hips are rotating over. And we can always adjust the feet once we're standing. And then putting a bend in that front knee. Bringing those arms out over the legs. Gaze going over that front middle finger. And letting those shoulders just relax down the back. And taking deep breaths here. Feeling equal weight on all four corners of each foot. That back foot, we're sealing down that back edge. Trying to keep those arms nice and even with each other. And slowly rotate that front palm so it's facing the ceiling. And as we exhale, start to shift the upper body back, letting that left hand come down, rest on that back thigh. Right hand coming up and overhead, engaging that core because we're in a little back bend here. And take those deep breaths. And on that next inhale, bring yourselves back to that warrior two, letting those arms come back out over the legs. Again, let those shoulders relax down the back. And take those deep breaths. On that next inhale, start to put a bend in that front elbow. And this time, as we exhale, we're going to shift over that front leg, letting the elbow come onto the thigh, bringing that back arm up and overhead. So that gaze is either down at that foot, up at the ceiling, or at that side wall. Try not to put too much pressure in that elbow to let that shoulder come up. We're just resting it. And then we're taking those deep breaths here. And on that next inhale, shifting ourselves back up to that warrior two, arms out, holding it for a breath. And exhale those arms down, straighten that front leg. Rotate those toes so they're parallel with the mat. And then take a second to line those toes up with each other. And then once they're lined up, we're just going to start to angle those toes out so they're pointing off to the corners of our mat. We'll inhale, bring the arms up, out to the side with a bend in those elbows, nice wide fingers. And as we exhale, start to bend those knees, shifting down like we're coming to sit into a chair. So the weight's all in the heels. We're tucking those tailbones in, not arching the back. Hands are out, facing that side, and taking those deep breaths. And on the next inhale, popping ourselves back up, bringing those arms up. And as we exhale, just letting ourselves fall between those legs. If we want to adjust those feet in this fold so they're pointing forward, that might be a little bit more comfortable in the legs. And then just let the head hang. Let that neck relax. You kind of give that head a little shake, circle it around. That allows that upper body to relax just a little more. Then let that head hang. Take those deep breaths here. And we'll take those hands, place them under the face, straighten those elbows. Start to walk those hands towards the front of the mat, rotating those feet so we're up on those back toes. And we're going to take that right leg, step it back along into a down dog. And take those deep breaths here. And on that next inhale, lifting that left leg with a bend in that knee. As we exhale, shifting that knee forward, dropping that foot between those thumbs, rotating that back foot so it's parallel with the mat, hands on the thigh, giving ourselves that little assist up. Turn around for you guys. Taking those hands, placing them on the hips, making sure those hips are shifted over to the side and they're parallel. And then creating that bend in that front knee. Hands out over the legs, gaze over that front middle finger. And take those deep breaths. And again, relax those shoulders down the back. And on that next inhale, rotating that palm so it's facing up towards the sky. As we exhale, shifting ourselves back, letting that right hand come on that back thigh. Bring that left arm kind of up and overhead, engaging that core and that back bend. And take those deep breaths. And then shifting ourselves back to that warrior two, arms out over the legs. Relaxing those shoulders down. Taking a couple breaths here. And then putting a bend in that elbow. And as we exhale, shifting over that front leg, letting the elbow rest on the thigh, bringing that back arm up and overhead. Gaze up at the sky, down at that foot, or at the sidewall. And again, we're just resting that elbow, so we don't want to put too much pressure so that shoulder shrugs up into the ear. And take those breaths. And then on that next inhale, bringing ourselves back to that warrior two for just a breath. Exhale, bring those hands down, straightening that front leg, rotating that foot so it's parallel with the mat also, lining those toes up. Once we have them lined up, we're gonna give them that little rotation over to the corners of our mat. And we'll go into our little squat one more time. So inhale those arms out, bend those elbows, wide fingers. Exhale, dropping that weight down into those heels, bending those knees, tucking those tailbones. So we're light on those toes, taking those breaths. Just one more breath here. And inhale, straighten those legs, straighten those arms. Exhale, fold between those legs. And again, if you want to straighten those feet out, if it's a little more comfortable on the legs. And then just let that head hang, let those shoulders hang. Again, if you want to give it a little extra relax, you can do some circles with that head. Shake it yes, shake it no, and then let it just hang. And take those deep breaths. And we'll take the hands, place them under that face, straightening those arms, and then walking those hands to the front of the mat, rotating those feet so we're up on those back toes, and then stepping that back leg forward this time, coming into a fold. And then we'll inhale, bring ourselves all the way up, bringing those arms, exhaling them down. And release those hands to the sides. We're going to go to a couple balance poses here. So we're going to try to string them together without dropping our foot. But if you need to drop the foot in between, please feel free to drop the foot down and then move into the next pose. So we'll find that spot that's on the floor directly in front of us, not moving. Kind of let those hands float out to the side to help us with our balance. So we'll start with our left leg being our planted foot here. So slowly roll up on those right toes and then lift those toes up off the mat. Rotate that foot so it's out to the side. And we're going to just place the foot on the calf here. So those hips are opening up nice and wide, so we're pushing that leg out. When we feel that we have that balance, we'll bring those arms up. And we're going to bring the palms together at the top here. Take those breaths, hold this pose. And then we'll slowly release those arms down. Again, if we need to drop that foot, we can drop it to the mat, or we'll try to move straight to that other balance. So we're going to bring that knee back forward, crossing it over that left leg, trying to tuck those toes between or behind that calf, but if not, that foot can just hang out, or we can kind of tap it on the mat if we have a little bit of some balance issues today. We'll bring those arms forward with a bend in those elbows. Take that right arm underneath, cross those arms, rotate the palms so they face each other. And then trying to keep those arms at a 90-degree angle. So we don't want to drop those elbows on the chest. And take those deep breaths here, squeezing those inner thighs in together, helping with that balance. And we'll release those hands, letting them come back down. Again, if we need to uncross that foot, dropping it onto the mat, or we'll bring that knee into that chest. We're going to swing that leg back with a bend in the knee, taking that same hand, trying to reach around, grab that foot. That opposite arm is going to come forward, tilting that upper body forward, pushing the foot into the hand. Take a few breaths here. And then bring ourselves back forward, dropping that foot down, release that arm, shake that leg out, shake those arms out. And once we're all shaken out, we'll move on to that other side. So again, finding that spot that's going to help us through each of these balance poses, letting those arms kind of float out, kind of finding that spot to help with that balance when we get into these poses. So we'll start with that right leg. Our right leg is going to be our plant leg. That left leg, we're going to start to roll up on those toes. Lifting that leg, that knee, and rotating that leg out. Placing that foot onto the calf. Opening up those hips, trying to get that leg nice and wide. And I didn't mention this on the other side, but you can also take that foot onto that ankle if that balance is a little challenged today, and have those toes just kind of tap the mat. When we feel that we have the balance, we're going to inhale the arms up and bringing those palms together at the top. Again, holding that balance with that breath. And we'll exhale those arms down. Release that foot. Again, if you need to place the foot on the mat, you can. If not, we're bringing that knee to the chest. Crossing that leg over. Trying to tuck it behind that calf if we can, or just kind of letting it hang out or tapping that toe onto the mat. Bringing those arms forward. And this time taking that left arm underneath, rotating those palms so they face each other. And then lifting those elbows so they're at that 90-degree. And taking those deep breaths here. If at any time you fall out of that pose, it's okay, because you can always get right back into it. And releasing those hands, finding that balance, bringing that knee forward or placing the foot on the mat. And then we'll move into that last balance. So bringing that leg back, we can grab a hold of that foot, shifting that arm forward, and slowly rotating, pushing that foot into that hand, using that breath here. And then exhaling it all down, letting it fall, and shake everything out. All right. So we'll inhale, bring those arms up, gaze up. Exhale, swan diving forward over the legs. We'll walk those feet kind of toe heel them so they're about hip distance or shoulder distance apart. And we're going to start to sink ourselves all the way down. So start to drop those hips down and come all the way down, letting the hips rest down onto those calves. So we're in a very low squat here. So the ankles might pop up off the mat, and that's okay. It just depends how flexible those Achilles are. If they're not very flexible and it's not very comfortable to be up on those toes, you can take the back of the mat, roll it up, and kind of stick it under those heels. That kind of helps give you a little support. So we're going to do one more balance pose here while we're up on these toes or down in this squat, I guess. So again, finding that spot that's not moving. Slowly starting to lift that upper body up, taking those hands off the mat. Placing those palms together, shifting on the front of that heart. And holding that for a few breaths here. At any point you need to release the hands back to the mat, please feel free. We'll have one more breath here. And then release those hands slowly back down. And then we're going to straighten those legs up and let that blood rush all the way back to those toes. Feel free to kind of roll those feet around, lift those toes, lift those heels, whatever you need to do. And then we'll take those hands, place them on the thigh, roll ourselves all the way up. Slowly stacking those vertebrae. Roll those shoulders down, back. I'm just shifting the top of my mat. Close the eyes for a breath. And we'll inhale, bring those arms up, gaze going up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive ourselves forward over those mats. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, down. Inhale, step the feet back to a down dog. And pedal those feet out. And then let those legs come to stillness. And we'll slowly make our way onto those knees. And then having a seat on the mat. So we'll kick those legs straight out in front of us. Kind of rock side to side here so we're up on those sit bones. Feel free if you want to kind of rotate those legs back and forth. Give them a little shake. And then sit or rock so we're on the sit bones one more time. And we're going to take the right foot, bringing the foot up onto the mat. Rotate that foot so it's over that leg. So that foot's right about on the outside of that knee. Sitting up nice and tall here. Taking an inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to twist the upper body towards the bent leg, bringing that left hand alongside the thigh. Twisting that neck around, that back around. Only going as far as is comfortable. We can try to get the gaze all the way behind that back shoulder or just over at the side. Taking those deep breaths here. And then slowly bringing ourselves back forward. We'll uncross that leg. And again, feel free to give those legs a little shake here. And then we'll take that left foot, bringing it up, and then crossing it over. Again, that foot's right about on the outside of that knee, whatever's comfortable, really. Sitting up nice and tall, taking an inhale. And as we exhale, twisting toward that bent leg, bringing that right arm around, and bringing that gaze as far as is comfortable. Taking those deep breaths. And then slowly bringing ourselves back forward. We'll uncross that leg. And again, straighten it out. Give those legs that wiggle. And then take the hands, place them kind of behind you on the mat. Take those feet up wide on the mat. And we're going to let the legs fall to each side. Taking our time here. If you need to hold one side, maybe a little longer, feel free. And the next time those legs come to that left side, we're going to let them fall all the way down onto the mat. Bring that right arm around, reaching like we're going to shake someone's hand behind us. And take those deep breaths here. And slowly start to make your way back, swinging that right arm around, placing it on the mat behind us, and shifting so we're up on those sit bones a little bit and leaning back. And then drop those legs down to each side one more time. And then the next time we get to that right side, letting those legs come all the way down, lifting that left arm, sweeping it around to do that handshake behind us. And then we'll slowly sweep that arm back forward, letting it come down on the mat. Let those legs drop to each side one more time. And then bring those knees up, let those legs come down, and slowly make our way all the way down onto our back. And take those feet, place them up on the mat. We'll take the arms out to the side. If they're all the way out like a T, that's fine. Or just kind of out, excuse me, whatever's comfortable. We're going to start to lift the legs up, straightening those legs as much as we can. If we have a bend, that's okay. We're just going to point and flex those toes. And then circle those ankles. And then switch that direction. And we'll point and flex. And then let those legs come, put a bend back in those knees, letting those feet come down. So we want to try to keep the knees over the hips as much as we can, with the knees pointing up towards the sky. And we're going to draw some circles on the ceiling with those knees, trying to keep them together throughout those circles, going as big or as small or fast or as slow as is comfortable to you. And then switch that direction. And then bring those knees into the chest, take a hold, give those legs a hug. So lift that head up to those knees, just giving them a little hug here. And then coming down onto the mat, let those feet come down. Let those legs come all the way down. Then we'll do one final stretch. So take those arms up overhead and stretch those arms all the way up. Stretch those legs all the way down, just like we're waking up in the morning. And then let everything fall to the mat. Let those legs fall to wherever's comfortable. Let those hands come down by the sides. Start to close the eyes. Start to refocus on the breath. Feeling it moving in through the body. And filling all those spaces in the lungs. Feeling it move down to the toes, down to the fingers. And then feeling it leave the body with each exhale. Now is the time in our practice where we start to try to clear our mind of any thoughts that we might have. Try to release any tension that we're holding within the body. Watching everything go away with each exhale and feeling ourselves sink deeper and deeper into our mat. If you find that a thought starts to enter your mind, maybe you just can't shut those wheels down. Try to focus on the breath, maybe counting each inhale or counting each exhale. Right now, you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to think about anything. You can just lie here, just relaxing and just being with yourself. Maybe this is the only opportunity you have for this all day. So take advantage of that. bringing a little life back into your body by wiggling your fingers and toes. Roll your wrists and ankles. Rock your head from side to side. Begin to deepen your inhales and exhales. And when you feel ready, take one foot, place it on the mat, follow it by that other foot, and then take one knee into the chest, followed by the other, taking a hold of the legs and rocking side to side. When you feel ready, roll onto your right side. With your right side grounded by the earth, leaving your left side open to the sun and the moon and the stars and all the gifts the universe has to offer you today. When you feel ready, come up to a comfortable seated position. We'll take the hands in front of the heart, close the eyes one last time. Take a deep inhale, exhale it all out. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.